The Secret Mission of Agent Grey, Part 3. Agent Grey had escaped Berlin and delivered the vital intelligence to the Allies, but his work was far from over. After a brief rest in Sweden, he received a new assignment, one that would take him back into enemy territory. This time, the mission was even more dangerous. The Allies had intercepted coded transmissions indicating that a high-ranking Nazi officer, Colonel Dietrich Weber, possessed classified documents detailing Germany's next strategic moves. The mission was clear: infiltrate Weber's headquarters and retrieve the documents before they could be used against the Allies. The new assignment. Grey's contact in Stockholm provided him with false papers and a new identity. This time, he would pose as a Swiss diplomat named Erich Bauer. The plan was to enter Nazi-occupied Norway under the pretense of trade negotiations. Once inside, he would have to locate Weber's office and extract the documents without raising suspicion. He boarded a ship bound for Oslo, keeping to himself as he studied every detail of his cover story. Every lie had to be flawless. Upon arrival, he was greeted by a German officer who escorted him to the diplomatic quarters in the city. The Gestapo presence was strong, and Grey knew that any mistake could mean certain death. Into the lion's den. After settling in, Grey attended a formal gathering at a grand hall where high-ranking officers mingled. He spotted Colonel Weber across the room, engaged in conversation with several other officials. Grey approached carefully, introducing himself as Erich Bauer, an envoy interested in securing resources for Swiss trade. Weber, a shrewd man, studied him closely but nodded in approval. Over the next 2 days, Grey established trust, carefully gaining information about Weber's office and routines. He learned that the documents were stored in a safe inside Weber's private study, located on the second floor of the command center. Security was tight, but Grey noted a potential weakness. Every evening at 10 p.m., Weber enjoyed a glass of brandy alone in his lounge, leaving his office briefly unattended. The heist. On the third night, Grey made his move. Dressed in a stolen officer's uniform, he slipped through the corridors, timing his steps with the changing of the guards. As Weber retreated to his lounge, Grey entered the study, closing the door softly behind him. The safe stood against the far wall. With a practiced hand, he retrieved a small set of tools and got to work. Each turn of the dial felt like an eternity. His heartbeat remained steady, his breathing controlled. Click. 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 The lock gave way. He opened the safe and quickly scanned the contents, grabbing the classified documents and slipping them into his coat. But as he turned to leave, a sound stopped him: footsteps approaching the study. Thinking fast, he pressed himself into the shadows behind a heavy curtain. The door creaked open, and Weber stepped inside, muttering to himself. Grey barely dared to breathe. A few tense moments passed before Weber left, unaware of the intruder in his midst. Grey wasted no time. He moved swiftly, exiting the study and retracing his path through the hallways. Just as he reached the outer courtyard, an alarm blared. Someone had discovered the open safe. Shouts rang out, and guards scrambled in all directions. Grey had only seconds to react. The escape. Instead of heading for the main gate, which was now heavily guarded, Grey climbed onto a ledge and scaled the outer wall. He dropped silently into the street below, discarding his stolen uniform in a dark alley. The city was on lockdown, with soldiers searching every vehicle and pedestrian. He needed an escape route. His contact had mentioned a hidden resistance safe house near the harbor. Keeping to the shadows, Grey navigated the winding streets, avoiding patrols at every turn. By dawn, he had reached the safe house, where a resistance member handed him a forged passport and civilian clothes. A fishing boat bound for neutral Sweden was leaving within the hour. It was his only chance. With one last glance at the occupied city, Grey boarded the boat. The documents were safe, and the Allies would soon have the intelligence they needed. But Grey knew that the war was far from over. More missions awaited, and his fight in the shadows would continue. Agent Grey had once again slipped through the enemy's grasp, but for how long?